Finding a car that's fun to drive doesn't have to mean draining your wallet. Believe it or not, there are still plenty of great options under $5,000 that give you performance, style, and personality without breaking the bank. Today, we're counting down the top 5 best cars you can buy under $5,000. These are cars that enthusiasts love, that you can still find on the used market, and that deliver an awesome driving experience for the money. Let's get started. At number 5, the Nissan 350Z. If you're looking for raw performance at this price point, the 350Z is where it's at. Launched in the early 2000s, the 350Z came with the VQ35 V6 engine, making between 287 and 300 horsepower depending on the year. That's enough to hit 0 to 60 in the low 5-second range, easily the fastest car on this list. The styling has aged well, it's got rear-wheel drive, and it feels planted in corners. It's also got a massive aftermarket for mods, from exhausts and coilovers to full turbo kits. But there are issues. Early models had oil consumption problems, clutches wear quickly if the car's been driven hard, and suspension components take a beating with age. Interiors also aren't the most refined. Still, for under $5,000, if you can find a decent one, 350Z gives you serious performance that rivals cars way outside this budget. At number 4, we've got the Ford Mustang from the late 90s to early 2000s, specifically the new Edge generation. This is the car that gave many people their first taste of American muscle, and it's still one of the cheapest ways into the world of rear-wheel drive, V8s. Now, most of the Mustangs you'll find under $5,000 are going to be V6 models, which make around 190 horsepower. They're not fast, but they're still rear-wheel drive and fun to drive. If you're patient or lucky, you might score a GT with the 4.6-liter V8, which makes closer to 260 horsepower and runs 0 to 60 in the 6-second range. The good news is that parts are dirt cheap, the aftermarket is massive, and these cars are easy to work on. The bad news? A lot of them have been abused. Interiors feel dated, the plastic trim doesn't hold up, and fuel economy isn't exactly great. Still, if you want that Mustang rumble and muscle car presence for under $5,000, this generation is the one to get. Coming in at number 3, the Infiniti G35 Coupe. The G35 is a fantastic choice. Released in the early 2000s, the G35 shares a lot with the Nissan 350Z, but with a more refined design and a comfortable interior. Under the hood, you'll find a 3.5-liter V6 pushing between 260 and 280 horsepower depending on the year. That gives you a 0 to 60 time in the low 6-second range. Plenty of power for the price. The G35 is also practical enough to daily drive. It's got usable space, a comfortable ride, and a great mix of performance and luxury. On the downside, these cars are often high mileage, and with age comes issues. Timing chain guides can wear, cam and crank sensors can fail, and like many older cars, suspension bushings and control arms may need replacement. Interiors, especially leather seats, also don't always age gracefully. But for under $5,000, you're basically getting a stylish coupe with near 350Z performance that you can drive every day. That's hard to beat. Number 2 is the Mazda Miata. Honestly, no list of affordable sports cars is complete without it. The Miata is proof that you don't need a ton of horsepower to have fun. The first 2 generations, the NA and NB, are usually the ones you'll find under $5,000. They're small, lightweight, and perfectly balanced. We're talking 2,200 pounds with around 120 to 140 horsepower. That doesn't sound like much, but because of the weight, every drive feels exciting. The Miata also has one of the strongest enthusiast communities out there. You can find parts everywhere, tutorials for every job, and a huge aftermarket if you want to modify. What to watch out for? Rust is the big one. These cars are old now, and rocker panels, sills, and underbodies can rot away if they weren't protected. Convertible tops can leak or tear, and suspension components may be worn out on higher mileage cars. Still, for under $5,000, the Miata gives you one of the purest, most affordable sports car experiences you'll ever find. It's fun at legal speeds, cheap to run, and it'll teach you a lot about car control. Taking the #1 spot is the BMW E46 3 Series. Built from 1998 to 2006. This is the car that made a lot of people fall in love with BMWs, and for good reason. It has a near-perfect weight distribution, rear-wheel drive, and sharp steering that gives it one of the best driving dynamics in its class. If you can find a 330i with a manual, you're looking at 225 horsepower, around 214 pound-feet of torque, and a 0 to 60 time in the low 6-second range. Even the smaller engines still feel engaging thanks to the chassis. The styling is timeless. It looks just as good today as it did 20 years ago. Now, here's the catch. E46s are cheap to buy, but not always cheap to own. The cooling system is notorious for failing. Radiators, water pumps, and expansion tanks tend to go bad. Bushings and suspension components also wear out with age. And in colder climates, rust can show up in the wheel arches and underbody. But if you find one that's been taken care of, you're getting one of the best driving experiences you can have for under $5,000. The E46 is a true driver's car, and that's why it sits at #1. So those are my picks for the top 5 best cars under $5,000. The BMW E46, Mazda Miata, Infiniti G35, Ford Mustang, and Nissan 350Z. Each one brings something unique to the table. Whether it's the balanced handling of the E46, the lightweight fun of the Miata, the power of the G35, the muscle of the Mustang, or the raw speed of the 350Z. The best part? You don't need to spend a fortune to get into any of these. With a bit of searching, you can still find solid examples for under $5,000. Which one would you pick as your budget sports car? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell for more car content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.